Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon. It's Thursday, March 28th, 1 o'clock. This is a meeting of the Bylaws Advisory Committee. Present are Jean Domina. I knew I could count on Jonathan. Lucy
Sorry, I was
Dalton.
rushing from-
Jonathan J. Welcome. Francine Tishman. So we're just getting started.
Good.
Okay. Any public comments?
Question, because I took a look at your agenda for tonight, and it said something about bylaws for the Board of Health, so I'm wondering what that's about.
Well, we've been going through the bylaws. I mean, this committee reconvened after almost a year of
Right.
kind of dormancy, I guess. And we were listing the outstanding or unresolved bylaws that we still have to go through. So we keep it kind of as an open list of items that we still have to complete. My understanding, and I don't recollect this myself, is that we originally presented our version of bylaws to the Board of Health, and they were going to
Have a
be,
copy of
not me. And they weren't, you were going to look them over, and this does go back a long time, so this is no one's issue.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
everyone's.
remember
Okay.
this.
I do. If I may add, a couple of meetings ago, we were just trying to clean up the bylaws that we had worked on. And I will take responsibility for that. I was assigned to contact you to see where we left off with the Board of Health things. And you were supposed to do finance.
And I
The
did.
finance, which you did, you reported.
Yep.
But
I guess I'm confused where you're going with bylaws, because we don't have, you're talking about the general bylaws. I mean, zoning bylaws are very different.
General.
So the general bylaws, specifically, are you thinking about things like non-criminal disposition, those sorts of?
no, it's not. Thank you.
Or are you writing bylaws for the Board of Health?
No.
No, we're not.
No, it was something that we had presented to you. And we
Virginia.
had gone back and forth.
Hi, Virginia.
Hi, Virginia.
I'm
Let me
looking
see if
here.
I can find it, okay?
It may have gone to you from Velda, because she was the person who was driving it.
Right.
So we're working off of the list of unresolved items that she prepared before she left.
Right.
And she left about a year ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In July. So if I go back and, wasn't there something on the website you had? I think there's.
She actually left a document.
Asking, anything that was drafted was posted for comment and feedback. We're not attempting to write the bylaws for each of the committees, but we do have to include them in the town bylaws, like description, function, role, number, how people,
Right,
you know. And my understanding, I think, was from Velda then.
Getting
Must have
one
been
of the
the
right
right
heading,
They
like
weren't,
the leash law
Right.
and dogs, and, because Felda and I had a discussion about kennels. But I'm not sure that the Board of Health had. I'm trying to think. What was
It might have been something to do with the transfer station.
Oh, that could be.
Okay.
Was it the transfer
Was it the
station?
transfer?
Okay. It was a while.
But it's not in the bylaws now, right? There's not something on transfer station. Transfer station, is there in the bylaws now?
I believe there is.
Oh.
But it's
can go
more.
It's under solid waste landfill,
solid waste.
Article 26.
And recycling
The
is
town
another one.
recycling is Article
Right.
28.
Those
Yeah.
were those two.
Right, and I have something that says that we're waiting on the Board of Health. This is something that's on this, oh, this was a year ago.
Right.
That I'm looking at.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is kind of put things back together.
Right.
So those were the
Okay, this is,
Yeah, those are the two.
this is the recycling bylaw, like what we said.
Yep.
Oh, the mandatory recycling bylaw.
Recycling. Yeah, so we had gone back and forth.
I have to go back and check on that.
But that's what that was
All
about.
right, so it was the transfer station, and I think we're probably going to try and put the mosquito control bylaws through for the annual town.
For
meeting.
general?
Yeah, I think it'll be general, and we'll have the town handle that. So that still has to be drafted and get it into,
And we're probably not going to be ready to go anywhere with this until at least we're thinking the fall. I mean, certainly not this.
it's not going to happen, yeah. Yeah.
So the Board of Health is going to draft the mosquito.
We'll draft the, right, in order to join the mosquito control district, and initially it's you'll have to put the article on the town meeting. I think it's about $5,000 to get into the district so we can do all of the surveillance, because we know that we already have the mosquitoes that carry the Zika virus coming up. So I want to be careful. There won't be any eradication or anything at this point. We're just going to be doing the surveillance.
Is that the thing Charlie Kinnicky was talking about?
Yep, certainly is.
Are there towns spraying?
East Long Meadow periodically sprays. We've not done any spraying. We have just used the larvicide, which is non-toxic to, animals and humans, and you
Yeah.
just put it in the pools or whatever to kill the larva. But, yeah, we want to be careful of this now. So between ticks and mosquitoes.
Oh, the ticks.
Yeah, because periodically the towns have to stop all of the sports activities for kids when they're outside, when it's just dusk, because they get bitten, especially if the mothers haven't put anything on them, so. Okay, so I just have to go back and check on the transfer station.
And it would have been before April because Velda left in April. She didn't leave in July.
Oh, okay.
But she left us in April. I think she moved. in.
Right, she left
Yeah.
us in
Yes,
April, so
yes.
she probably would have finished work, yeah.
Okay, so I have to look before
Yeah.
April last year.
Yeah.
And it was under the bylaw committee, I think. Didn't she do a little website or whatever?
Yeah.
Those documents are on there.
Yeah.
We miss her.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, we
No,
did.
she was great. Thank you so much.
All right,
Check on this.
See you later. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so somewhere between Finance Committee and public comments, we got an answer. So we'll just go back to the agenda items. Next would be the minutes of March 21st.
Do I have them?
Yes.
Oh, did you send them out, or,
I did.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Remember getting them.
You know, I was wondering when I posted the minutes to my town government if you were all included as a person that, whenever anything is posted to the bylaw, if you check the box or whatever, you can get all the notifications.
I should have done that.
Yeah. Okay. I apologize, I didn't know. Do you want me to make a copy?
They're short, why don't you
Yeah.
just go read them? Yeah, they're brief.
March 21st. I'll have to find them.
No, I know they're on that,
Yeah.
my time, but I just,
And that's, they get posted on there after they're passed, but
Yep.
she's talking about when you draft them,
yeah.
they should come to us.
I don't know if I printed a copy. I know they're on
Let me go back and look
I
at my
did.
emails so I can find it. I don't know what to do with that, you know?
I didn't send them.
I don't have them.
They're not available, no.
No, I wouldn't have posted the 21st.
Yeah.
Because they weren't
Right,
approved.
right, yeah.
You know what? I left it on my computer.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I don't have, I looked, I don't have them.
Can we approve them next week?
All right, so we can,
We'll have to,
we'll
yeah.
table that item until next meeting and just move on to the next agenda item. Let me just do this.
I wish I could have brought my computer.
Okay, so then the next would be the reports of,
Various
on
committees.
meetings with any committees and any updates you may have from conversations with committees about bylaws.
My committee, finance committee, they said no changes. I said that last time in our meeting, so
So there were no
there
changes
was no
to the...
changes to the ones that we suggested, or the former group suggested to them, sent to them for changes.
Okay.
They read them over and they said, no changes.
Okay.
We like what you have. So
we
Okay,
can go
do
with it.
you have,
Which again...
I think we had several copies. So which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the budget process or?
This one, I think.
I just found my
Here.
minutes.
yes, that one. Yep.
Which one is that?
No, you should have gotten this as part of the package.
Just give me.
Yeah, it should be in there.
Which-
Go into page 4, see if it's come, yep,
Okay.
okay. So this is the one that we're talking about that they agree with.
Yes.
Which one is it? Please?
This one, it should,
That's exactly the one that I
that was
said.
incorporated into the,
Oh,
you
okay.
know,
I
all the
remember.
cut and, you know, the one that's tracking all of the changes. So it appears as page 4. In place of, yeah.
And they were okay with it?
They were okay, yep.
This is
I
in the
can
finance
get the
committee or
email, I
something?
can go get the email from them and tell you what they said, but they were
Okay.
fine with it, and they said, we're okay with you moving forward. There are no changes to be made.
All right.
So it's this one.
Article 2, yep, that one, this one, yep.
Okay.
I emailed
Let
it
me
on
see which
312.
one you, just to make sure I'm looking at the same thing.
This one? Article 2, page
She
3.
has page 3.
And 4.
Oh, so this is the one,
Yes,
not this one.
no.
Okay. Oh, it's on the other side.
All right, so this one.
I had marked different things that we were going to edit
Right,
this.
right. This was the one that passed the town meeting, but there were errors in the language that we were going to correct in subsequent.
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe it was, there shall be a finance committee for the town consisting of 5 voters of the town who shall perform the duties set forth in the following sections. covered by the provisions thereof. Committee selected. Finance Committee members may serve as liaison to other committees, boards, commissions, and/or ad hoc committees as needed to maintain. Okay, the question came in, I think, in the final.
Actually, this was the documents, this was the document before the suggested changes. These were the suggested changes.
Right.
These are the ones that they are good with.
That was what I was asking.
Yes,
These.
yes. These are the suggested
Go
changes.
back to this one.
Sorry, these are good.
Oh, that's the next one,
Where
page
it says,
4?
Yes.
So the
Is that in lieu of
suggested,
page 3, or?
it starts with page 4.
Right.
Suggested
Yeah, in
version
lieu
from
of
the
page
finance.
3. There shall be a finance committee for the town consisting of
Yes.
5 registered
Yep.
voters.
Oh.
The way, yeah, start with what's on
Okay,
page 4.
so even though it
Yeah,
says
yeah.
2, it's, oh, I see, it's Article
So
2.
we're
Article
gonna,
two.
Got
we're
it,
gonna,
yeah.
I'm gonna cross this one out and put this.
Yes.
Okay,
But what exists now is what's on page 3, that's what was approved at the town meeting?
right.
Okay.
And that was contrary to what the finance committee
Right.
had submitted to the select board.
Okay.
It went to the town lawyer, council, and somewhere between town council and the select board, it was changed to page 3.
I see. So, but the finance committee still wants to do page 4?
Right, right. This is a new finance committee, so,
So it's different from,
Yes, yes.
okay, what they had originally,
right. So if they're okay with it, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. I was okay with it the first time, so, good. Thank you.
I sent it to John Labrie, and he looked it over, and they reviewed it at their meeting. So
Okay.
they
Well,
come
that's-
back and say they didn't know what they were reading, then that's their fault.
All right, good. All right, so that's progress. We can check that off our list. Done. So then, the 2 items for the Board of Health are still pending, but at least we know they're being addressed. The ones we just did with Jerry on solid waste and recycling.
Yep.
We have to keep her from putting mandatory by law.
That's right.
It has to be by law for mandatory. Because she insisted that it had to be mandatory by law, and we were telling her they all were.
Okay.
you mean she would write in the article mandatory, or I'm not?
No, she was calling it, it was a mandatory bylaw on, instead of making sure that people knew it was a bylaw that had been mandated to them for,
The action was mandatory, not the bylaw.
the action was mandatory, and she kept saying it's a mandatory bylaw. Well, they all are.
Right.
Okay, so kind of semantics.
It
Okay.
is, but it's important.
The distinction.
If you say this one's mandatory, what about the next one?
Okay.
Dogs running loose in town.
Could we go back to the minutes, because I did
Okay.
find them, I'm sorry.
Do you want to read them, or
Yeah.
do you want to just?
Bless you.
Thanks.
Bless you.
Okay, it's a little bit lengthy. Present, Francine, Virginia, Janine, Lucy, Jonathan. Meeting was called to order by Francine at 2:06 PM. Jonathan was welcomed as a new member after being appointed by the Select Board and sworn in. March 7th minutes were unanimously approved after a motion was made and seconded to approve them as written. Continued working on the draft copy of the noise bylaw. Jonathan will revise section 2 as discussed and emailed to the committee members. It was determined that a new bylaw is needed to protect the privacy and security of every person in town, and that the personal use of drones be addressed within this bylaw. Francine handed out a copy of a petition on drones and other unmanned aerial systems, which is currently before the House. Lucy reported, excuse me, that the new members of the Finance Committee reviewed the finance bylaws previously agreed upon. It made no changes. April 11th is the deadline to submit all articles for the annual town meeting in May. Therefore, Francine reported that the town administrator shall have an article ready to change the name of Board of Selectmen to Select Board. Scheduled next meeting, Thursday, March 28th, 1 p.m. Adjourned 3:30 p.m. Respectfully submitted, me.
Okay, just 2 points. One is the, that I was going to write to section 2, A and B.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure it really matters for minutes, but, yeah, and then I think we also decided, I don't know whether it was tentative or we finalized it, that we'd have another meeting next Thursday, April 4 at 1:30.
I was going to wait
Okay.
to do that.
Fine.
Okay. Do you want me to revise that?
No.
Saying
no, if
section
you
2
don't
and
make
B,
it-
A and B.
Yeah, I would just do that, if that's no problem.
All right. So then,
I'll motion to approve the revised version of the minutes from March 21st, 2019.
okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, as revised. Good, thank you. All right, back to this. I'm using my phone to
I know,
follow
me
the
too.
agenda,
Me
and
too.
it keeps shutting me down, so I need time between this, but, all right. So the next item, obviously, is to review some of the outstanding, some of which we've already done. One more time on noise, because that's the next one. I sent out, I incorporated Jonathan's changes, plus the changes we had discussed at our meeting that you wanted. I sent that out a couple of days ago. And hopefully, no more corrections. I mean, if there are, there are, but this was the last version.
Yeah, I just didn't bring with me my marked up copy from before. I didn't have a chance to
I
review the
see.
differences, but A and B were
Okay.
certainly fine, as we discussed.
Okay. There was just some minor words corrections, I think, in the rest of the document.
I think it looks really good. I have one question, though, and that would be, do we have anything, maybe I missed it, but anything that's pre-existing, such as the Gun and Rod Club? I know people move into town and then they have an issue with that. I mean, we can't shut something down that's been there forever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you probably could legally, but politically, I assume not.
Yeah.
Possibly not, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's, you don't have, the town either has the authority or it doesn't, but I don't think it's based on how long it's been here. It's more of a decision left for either the select board or town meeting or any, yeah.
It's not a problem that hasn't been.
I was going to say, has there ever been complaints, or if we found out if there was?
It's something, I mean,
There-
having moved to
there are.
town, you know,
There have been
and not
complaints.
had that experience before,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we did wonder what that was.
Well, but it is a good point, because, I
Right,
mean,
right.
how it interacts with this. Is there some way
I'm
that it's
sorry.
exempt? Well, no, I think it has to be raised. Is it exempted the way this is written?
I didn't think
It's specifically, something like that isn't mentioned, but you're probably right.
I think probably it's under they could, okay, let me see. Is there something that is about excessively long or,
A permit to operate control outside the hours specified above and in excess of the noise levels specified may be issued upon determination of
It's number 4.
You're talking about construction
That's
equipment?
construction.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
construction.
Yeah, I know.
Well, first of all, what hours are they able to do it? Is there any restriction now?
The only time I ever hear them is Thursday nights, and by 9 o'clock they're quiet. And I can only hear them when the leaves are off the trees.
Yeah, so take a look at section 2C.
Yep.
Now, is that sufficient? Would that seem to apply, to include the, I mean, as far as if it's between, that they would not be, have any problems if it's between 7 a.m. and 11, I'm sorry, yeah, if it's between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m.?
Between 11 and 7.
Right,
Yeah.
11 p.m.
At
Well,
night.
no, but no problem for the gun club if it's between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m.
No, because they don't.
They do it
shoot.
earlier than
They're
that.
done.
It's
done
earlier,
by-
and there are some, aren't there some on the weekends, Sunday morning or something?
Yeah, it is there, yeah, Sundays also.
But again, it's
And evenings.
not all day long, it's not,
Yeah.
And they don't do it.
It's something you just get used to, you know?
and
Yeah.
it's not high-powered.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's not it doesn't seem to be continuous
No,
compared
no.
to some places like by the Notch in Hadley, in South Amherst. Yeah, that can be many times during the day.
Yeah, there's
But-
been some in the
Yeah.
paper where there's been, Williamsburg had a problem. I can't think of the one that,
Maybe we should just wait for it to become an issue because
issue.
because it would seem like as if C takes care of it. The question would be, what if someone's,
Right.
what if people complain, 7 a.m. is too early for that, and it should really stop by 7 p.m., whatever.
well, I've never heard them much after 9.
No, no.
Well, my dog knows it, because she's jumpy about guns. And
Yeah.
I remember getting a couple of calls from people that moved in and into the
Yes.
Pomeroy Meadow Road area. And
yeah, it would be there.
they wanted,
Yeah. Didn't know what it was.
and they were going to sell their house and move out of town.
Okay, I'm okay with the way
Okay.
Jonathan described
I
it.
am too. Yeah.
And I think it's
Yeah.
something that might come up during the review process anyways, if there's, it seems like there's a good point made, or there's, there has to be some type of compromise, but it doesn't seem to infringe on their right. It just, I think it's a matter of other people being concerned about that.
Well, if you're, all of a sudden you hear a volley of shots and you're new in town,
Yeah,
You don't know what it is.
right.
what's this?
Yeah.
But,
And they are within those hours, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to put this to bed
Yes.
until
Until otherwise.
external comments come in once we get this. Okay, so
Okay.
that,
Now,
for all
is-
intents and
is
purposes,
someone-
this is checked.
Is someone going to add this to what's already online?
Well, I am.
The working,
Yes,
The general bylaws?
yes. Would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why wouldn't I?
To the working document, to the draft.
the working
Yeah,
document?
this
Yeah.
isn't, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that gets integrated, and we didn't give it an article number.
well, we need to do that at the
It's on
We'll
end.
do that at the end.
So everything will be
That's what we're talking
renumbered.
about.
at the
Yeah,
end and
because
they're
jumped
working
and moved around.
stuff. General
They're out
bylaws.
of order now.
That's on the desktop.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can't just add it to.
The first
Okay.
one is
Right.
finance before we have a town meeting or a select board.
So
all
that
good to
all
me.
has to be reordered. Okay, so we're good on noise for now.
Do we want to,
Do you want
like, someone make a motion?
Yes.
And we'll second it, because this is a big
to?
thing.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting the bylaws as revised, the noise bylaw as written, say aye.
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 Opposed? Any discussion? Okay, that's it. Thank you. Now we move to, we covered, we're satisfied with where we are on the Board of Health items. All
The
right. now-
finance committee's on twice.
Yes, finance, we're done.
Yeah.
The next item on the list would be the select board, and we had that draft that was put out. Now, is select board one word or two? If you want to start at the very
I
beginning.
know, I don't know.
In spell check, it's two.
I thought it was two also. But I don't know.
What is it called now in Article 3?
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, okay. What does the website say? Does it refer to select board, say use board at any point?
It's a mix.
Yeah.
I've seen it,
Yep, it's mixed.
I would go with two words until
Yeah.
someone's,
That's no.
says no. I just think it looks better.
Right.
And I think it's a more respect. I mean, it just kind of stands out, the fact that they are a board.
Okay.
All right, so that's an easy, everyone agrees.
So we have that one.
Everyone have this one pager?
Yeah.
Well, 1 1/4 pager.
And what is the current page 6? What is the status of that? Is that,
I've got a short one that says
That
town's
Janine,
website.
yeah, that Janine wrote on.
Yes. And Janine, this is the one you pulled from the town website.
What I did was I pulled what we have in the bylaws now
And incorporated what was,
on the town's website. And there are two completely different things about the Board of Selectmen and what they're responsible for. So what I did was I incorporated both and thought we could work from that if you'd like.
your version.
yeah, it makes sense, but what is this that's in the markup version here that?
This is the
page
current,
6,
this is the
that's it?
current bylaw as it
This
stands.
is the current?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now, it's not published like that, is it, with the lines through it and
No,
stuff?
no, this is the draft of our work. This is how we got from what was the original, then the changes that we were proposing.
And this is what the changes that we're proposing?
Right.
And then this is Janine's rewrite?
Based on what
incorporating-
was, yeah. And hers starts certainly in a better place. It just defines the select board rather than
First,
just
yeah.
roll into what their job is. So I think this is, again, coming back to more reader, user-friendly.
See, I don't, let me see that. See, I don't have that. I have this. This is all I have.
You don't have this? No, I had emailed it to everyone.
That's different.
No, I made copies.
Yeah.
I gave everybody copies at the last
Last
meeting.
meeting.
Oh,
Okay, let me see. I don't see it.
It was drafted, yeah, you wrote 32119 on it.
Yep.
If you see something at the top, select board, 32119.
oh dear, I'm gonna have to sit down and go through all this. I've got it in such a mess.
But for the town meeting, what we're going to have to do is integrate this into this so that we can show this as change to the existing.
Right, actually, Lucy, when you add and revise, like add the noise bylaw to our working copy, you should probably do what Velda was doing. And like underline what we add and then cross out what we are deleting.
So you have the working copy on your desktop?
I believe
your
so.
desk?
Yeah. How recent it is, I don't know, because Velda was working.
Of this one.
I'll have to look through it. I'll have to look through it.
This
And
is
I
the one
don't-
I sent to you, right? The one that was all marked up when I emailed it, you the electronic version.
Yes.
Did
No,
you
this is
find
what you ran off for me,
that
and
much
there may
later?
be some
I don't have it either.
differences.
I can't
Yeah, 'cause
find
I
I
don't
didn't,
have it.
I didn't print
I do not have that.
what you sent. So I've got,
I have the town
I
clerk.
can just,
I can't find
That's
it.
it.
just the eyeball.
That's what I sent today.
Right,
thing,
I
yes.
do not have the select.
So,
All right.
I will go make copies.
I do not have that at all.
Jonathan, do you have the select board?
yeah, this is,
You have
this
it,
would-
and you have it.
When did you send it?
I didn't send it. I gave everybody
Oh.
copies in the last meeting.
I put everything here, I don't have it, I don't know where it is.
Okay, I'll go get copies.
I've got to go and spread this all out, throw things out that I don't need anymore.
Well, this looks, yeah, so she basically picked up after her first paragraph.
Wow, I didn't realize they were responsible for hiring the town employees in the departments for which it has responsibility. I did not know that. I never knew that. Wow. This is on the town's website, I'm looking for that.
that the select board
Yeah.
has the authority to hire.
Yeah.
Well, but it's first done, I assume that the town administrator is the one who has the practical,
Right.
I mean, the day-to-day responsibility
Right.
to direct the workforce?
Right.
Okay, so I assume that the select board is I mean, what actually happens? I take it that Ed hires, says, this is the person we want to hire for such and such position, and then
Makes a
it's
recommendation, they approve.
to the select board, it's almost all.
Right, their recommendation and.
Right.
Almost always automatic, I
Right,
assume. but
Right,
yeah.
Yes.
I just didn't know that, because that's,
Yeah.
I didn't know Janine did that with me, like,
Yes,
I didn't know.
yeah, anybody who's hired.
Yeah,
Well, it goes through several, I mean, the
Right.
personnel board
Yeah.
looks at it.
Finance.
Finance
Yeah.
looks at it.
Right, right.
Obviously,
Yeah.
the department.
Right.
I think the departments start the whole
Right,
process.
yeah, right, yep. Yep. Thank you. Thanks.
Does she need one? No.
Okay.
So, in the first paragraph, how they're elected, or what they consist of, you used the word overlapping, we used the word staggered before. Did you think overlapping was a better, I take it you thought that was better to use than staggered?
I have
Or is
no,
that what's on the website?
that's on the,
I think staggered is
staggered is better.
Is better.
I agree. I just,
staggered.
it's up for
Okay.
review.
Re-election for 3-year terms for the balance of any term created by any vacancy race.
Yeah, so just a grammatical thing, if it's each elected, then it's a singular term. For a 3-year staggered term, you could just select each out and just say, consists of 5 members elected by the voters for 3-year staggered terms.
Fine,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, could you just repeat that? The select board
Consists
consists,
of 5 members, comma, just take out the word each,
okay,
and then change overlapping to staggered. Yeah, and then in the next sentence, re-election will be for the 3-year terms. Do you want to hyphenate 3-year, maybe?
yeah.
That's picky, but. And then, just since it's a bylaw, it's kind of a little more formal, created by a vacancy or resignation rather than a slash.
Yeah.
Okay, and then wherever it says select board, it's 2 words?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, is there any state statute that we should cite? Has certain powers and duties under state statute? Is there a reference?
Well, there is in
It says-
the 3rd paragraph.
Okay, should
Yeah.
we reference
I
it
think.
here? Okay, or leave it there? General Law 30B.
Well, 30B is only pertains to contracts.
Is it MGL, Massachusetts General Law, or is this something else?
A lot of times you just see
Okay.
GL,
Okay, and then,
but it is MGL.
all right, and then the C would be capitalized, I assume.
Yeah,
Where's that?
down in the 3rd paragraph.
Oh, okay.
All right, so if it's okay being mentioned further down, I'm fine with it, just as long as there is a reference.
Involving the, going back to the 2nd paragraph, a little confused, involving the town as agents and officers of the town? Doesn't, something seems to be missing there maybe, or?
Let me see, the select board
No.
to prosecute.
It's the
Okay,
comma.
or defend any legal controversy.
So in the previous bylaws, apparently it said shall act as agents and officers of the town.
Where are you?
So-
That.
So in the 2nd paragraph, the select board shall have authority to prosecute and/or defend any legal controversy involving the town. But it gets a little confusing, the town as agents and officers of the town. I think that means that the select board as agents.
Yes,
And-
yes.
So how about let me just see here.
What if
But-
we, sorry,
Oh.
excuse me, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what if we put, instead of putting the select board, we put as agents and officers of the town, then the select board shall.
Well, I was thinking something similar, but
Yeah,
why not
yeah.
start with the select board and then say comma as agents and
Yeah,
officers of the
right,
town?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Just move that line up, yeah.
Okay.
And before it said the selectmen, so that's why it said agents in the plural and officers of the town.
Period.
How about the select board as agent? Well, an officer of the town. Select board's not really an officer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You could just say as agent of the town. Whatever we write here, I assume in this provision that the legal counsel is
Yes.
going to go
Yeah.
over the fine tooth
Yes,
comb.
absolutely,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So for right now, we could just say the select board, comma, as agent of the town? And let them rewrite this as they see
Okay.
fit. Yeah.
and then put a period,
Yes.
and then the
Shall
select
have
board may
the
appoint.
authority to prosecute and or defend any
Right.
legal
Okay.
involving the town, period.
Period,
Yes.
and then the
Select
select
board
board.
may appoint.
Yeah.
Okay, and rather than say a counsel, what about just employ legal counsel?
Yeah.
For the town and the various.
Where, let's see.
Right after.
The
So
second
you're saying the
sentence.
select board may appoint and then
And/or employ
and/or employ.
legal counsel for the town. And I'm-
Instead of A,
Yeah,
just
and I'm-
For the town.
Legal,
Yeah, for the
okay.
town and the various officers and boards.
Okay.
Or how about and its various officers and boards? Okay.
That's good.
The select board shall also have Does this really have to be the bylaw? The select board shall have the authority to determine the compensation of town council.
I don't think so.
Huh?
I think the town council decides.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
The select board shall have the authority to determine the compensation for the town council. I don't think it works that way.
Well, there,
We have the ability to determine if we're going to pay.
right, but there's often a letter, to retain, right?
Yes, there
anytime
are.
soon, so.
Yes.
And the select board signs off on that?
Yes.
Or, okay.
But it
So-
doesn't talk about compensation, does it?
It does. I mean, isn't there like an hourly, there's like a retainer fee and then there's an hourly rate beyond
Yeah.
that? So, yeah.
But
So-
the town isn't deciding that, I would think.
The select
The
board.
select board.
Well, no, not even the select.
No, the select board agrees to what the
what
town
the
council
town council
proposes.
wants.
The
Yes,
town council?
yes.
Is there someone who is called the town council?
Yeah.
Well, we have a,
Town council is our attorney for the town. It's KP Law.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we said the select board may appoint legal counsel, in the second sentence, does that includes the town council and anybody else for special cases and when something's being litigated? Or,
Well, KP Law, they have different attorneys
Right.
by expertise,
within their own firm?
but
Yeah.
it's all one firm.
Okay, but sometimes you need specialized attorneys. I imagine that might be outside of their normal areas or
I
something.
haven't seen
Okay.
that.
Well, here's why I'm asking. The second sentence, we're saying counsel or legal counsel, and then the third sentence, we're saying the capitalized town council.
As if it
Do
were a
we-
position.
Do we want to just, and I don't know how the town views this, but do we want to say, I would just go with the compensation for legal counsel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And leave it open?
yeah.
So that in the future, if it's done somewhat differently or whatever, but it would encompass anyone
Right.
that the town would retain,
Right.
whether they're called the town council or not.
True.
Right.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, I like
So how
yes.
would you,
The
would
word
that be
legal.
select?
Oh, so this, but here, well, I would actually combine the second, what's now the second sentence. The select board may appoint and/or employ legal counsel for the town and its various officers and boards. I would actually put a comma there and say, and has the authority.
Yeah.
And has the authority to determine compensation
I agree.
for such counsel or
For legal counsel.
For legal counsel.
I agree with that.
Compensation for legal counsel.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, and, I put in a comma, and shall have authority, yeah. Shall have the authority, but not also, shall have the authority.
Okay.
To determine the compensation for legal counsel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what does not apply to such suits that are within the scope and duties of the tax collector? Is it,
I don't understand that.
what it means?
That is. it's
What's in the
here.
bylaws now? Does that mean liens? Does that mean?
Yeah, right.
It shall not apply to such suits.
tax taking,
Yeah.
that would be tax taking.
Yeah.
But you may want to get clarification from
Yeah.
Ed or someone now.
Well, yeah, because I don't know who she would go to if she had legal questions.
Jen, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the tax collector does the,
Yeah.
and there's tax taking, and,
But as far as suits, so if, I guess if they have to sue someone or
oh yeah,
maybe
they
put a
have
lien,
had to.
Yeah.
so it says, I mean,
I think
that
it's
would
in
not
there.
come before the town council, or that it would be as much before, I mean, that it would not come before the select board, or is it just the compensation doesn't come before?
No, when they're doing things like the tax,
Yeah,
that's the tax collectors. And she would be handling, or he, if we had, whatever, would not be the select board that would be involved in that.
so they have independent authority? to?
Yeah.
I believe so.
I think when they have to pursue, back taxes, or
Yeah.
file liens against property and things like that.
That just kind of, it flows from their jobs, and the town gives them the authority to just make the decisions themselves and do what needs to be done?
I really, that I don't know. I mean, it's worth asking the
Yeah.
question, because I don't know
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I would think the select board might have some decisions to make, if the town does, if it's something really big. I mean, a big controversy, and it could be a lot of money involved, and it could be a
Yeah.
big suit or a lot of negotiating, or settlement discussions involved in settling it. I don't know if we ever have those type of cases in Southampton.
Any of them that have come up, the select board has been apprised of what was going on.
Right.
And when it was a case of perhaps buying it, paying the back taxes to obtain the land, and there's been some with the water department, a piece of property on Coleman Road, then they are apprised of it, but it's in the hands of the tax collector.
Yeah, so it's because this paragraph certainly gives the select board authority, not that it always exercises, as I assume it gets into the fine print, but to get into any other legal controversy, right? To exercise its authority to say, I'm not sure this is a wise idea, or why are we going after this? Isn't there a better way to do this? I mean, all types of things.
Couldn't we just take that line out?
Well, you may,
Or change it,
It's in
change
there.
it somehow?
it's the
Yeah,
type of,
the
I
wording.
think it needs to be possibly
Yeah.
reworded,
Yeah.
but I don't think we know
How,
what
yeah.
the practice is in the town, and what
Yeah.
people have wanted, and
Yeah.
how it works, and what the rationale is.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
And until we know that,
All right.
I'm not sure we can
Then
reword it.
I'll start by asking the tax collector,
Yeah,
and then I
what's
will
in-
ask Ed, the town administrator.
What's in her duties?
Yeah.
The tax collector may tell you in her duties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but yes,
But I can see some big issues sometimes about how something is phrased, and, some real conflicts of interpretation about someone's assessment.
Well, that, I don't know about that, but if it's in, generally the treasurer is involved with that. I don't think there's ever been anything.
So Article 5 is treasurer and collector, right? And-
Yeah, and it says, "The town treasurer collector
Oh.
shall make a detailed report of receipts and expenditures, and all trust funds in his or her charge together with statement of town debt."
That's very odd.
I know there's nothing there.
And
And then,
so that's my next one to
Okay.
work on. And I have a copy of so you just read what was in the bylaw
Yeah, we have
currently.
now, yeah.
And I
Very
do,
little.
and then this is
Right.
what's on the website, which is
Very different.
very
Go down-
different.
I don't have copy, do you want me, I'll go down and make copies of that for everyone?
I can make them for you.
It's okay, I can,
Well,
But I have not started work on treasurer collector yet.
okay.
Well, should we-
I went from select board board to town clerk, and then I'll have this ready for you next
Yeah.
week.
Well, yeah.
It was just to clarify this one sentence.
Yeah,
What are
right.
they saying in there so that it's consistent with this, but obviously.
Okay, do you want me to make copies?
Yeah, just,
Well, why don't,
No.
is it going to affect our discussion right now of?
I don't know.
Let's-
Let's continue with the rest of the
Yeah,
documents,
our
and
attention.
then we'll see.
I would think we want to take this out. I'm sorry. It's really the duties of the tax collector that's addressing, not what the select board.
And in this, in the website's general responsibilities and duties, it says nothing about legal council,
Right.
that they have the authority
And
to,
it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't say
yeah.
anything in here.
So,
Well, why don't we just come back? Because
Yeah.
the reason I think Virginia it's in is someone is trying to say that something in this paragraph, if not all of it, does not apply to the tax collector. In other words, the tax collector is exempted from the provisions of this section, or at least one sentence, it's not clear, of that section. So, but I think we got to clarify it first, as to what the intent is. And then we can reword it properly or decide whether to take it out.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a big question mark there.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just leave that.
So
Yeah.
Francine, you're going to check on that?
Yeah, I'll check and see
Okay.
what it is, the process there.
Yeah, I don't know why it's
Okay.
in there. We could go to the original bylaw and see if there was any
Yeah.
discussion about it.
In the original bylaw of the,
When it was passed,
oh,
to add that sentence.
Okay.
I don't know.
all right.
I was just basing it on the only one community preservation's been involved in. And it was, I never saw a select board member there.
Right. But, and then I'm thinking about that, the pig farm on Brickyard, I think it was, where
Oh,
the
yeah.
town took it over, but it was for non-payment of taxes, but there was a Board of Health issue, there was Select Board, everybody was
Everybody,
involved.
conservation was
Yeah.
involved.
Right.
All right, well, then we'll come back to this.
Yeah,
once we
I agree.
clarify. So then the next paragraph.
So, here's some picky stuff. On the second line, authorized to enter in a contract for the exercise of the town's corporate powers, I would take out the comma after powers, rather than to break up the idea.
Yeah.
And then,
Cross off the rest of it on
Yeah.
such terms and conditions.
No,
take
just
off
the comma.
Just take out the
just take the
comma.
comma.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in the next sentence there, after select board, either take out the comma or put a comma after designate,
Yeah.
whichever you're
Right.
more
Yeah,
comfortable
right.
with. What do you want
Yes.
to do?
With the comma be after
Okay.
designated.
Yeah,
Yep.
There's nothing in here that says one member of the select board cannot act or enter into. It has to,
Right.
Well, although it does say
Designate.
designate, the select board.
or it's
Okay,
designee, but
yeah.
anyone acting on their own volition
Yeah.
is what I'm concerned about.
There's too many any's in this next line. Any purpose, any terms, any conditions, any applicable, any general law. There's a lot of any's.
Does that make sense to take it out?
Well,
I don't know, I have to
think-
reread it.
Well, I think grammatically, you could read any, if you take out any before terms and before conditions.
Yeah.
Any could still be read
Yeah,
before
I
purpose
agree.
as applied to it.
I agree.
Any purpose, terms.
right.
In fact, I would take out or any term, or
Yeah,
just say terms, any purpose,
Right.
terms,
Conditions,
or conditions, yeah.
Yeah.
For any purpose, terms,
conditions,
or conditions,
or conditions, yeah.
inconsistent with,
Yep,
yeah.
yeah, I agree with that.
But coming back to this, no individual select board member may enter into any agreement without the express something of the select board.
Or you could say without appropriate, or without due or appropriate, say appropriate designation, since we're already using the word designate.
'Cause you don't want
Without
someone-
designation, but,
Right, because you don't
Or
want the select
authorization
board
without-
talking to
yeah.
somebody and they have a conversation, this person comes back, they do this work and they come back and they say, well, I talked to so-and-so and they
Yeah.
said,
okay.
they don't, have- you
So
know.
do you want
Mm-hmm.
to, so Francine, you were saying no select board member?
Yeah,
Okay, and what was the rest of that?
may enter into any, into
Enter.
any agreement
Into, yeah.
or
Well, we use the contract here.
Yeah,
And to any said contract or any, into any contract on behalf
Right, of the
of
town.
the town, behalf of the town, without appropriate authorization by the select board.
Right, or town meeting.
Good.
Yeah.
Without appropriate, or just without authorization.
From the full select board and or
Well,
town
do you want to,
meeting. Yeah.
I not to say select board, because you could
Okay.
have someone absent or not voting, right? Select from the select board without authorization of the select board or town meeting. And then, again, just being picky, the first sentence, the select board, do we want to put a comma before, after select board, and before or? Just that may, just to be consistent with what we're doing in the next sentence. So that in the first line of that paragraph,
Paragraph number 4?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless
Yeah,
otherwise
just-
provided by vote of the town meeting, the select, is that what you mean?
No select.
No, unless otherwise provided by town, yeah, vote of
yes.
town, the select board or it's, yeah.
Okay.
And wherever we
I'm
say town
confused.
meeting is meeting.
Where are we?
Well,
The third paragraph?
Yeah, where it says unless otherwise provided.
Yeah.
Where?
Do you want to read what you wrote, what you just said?
Oh, yeah, unless otherwise provided by a vote of town meeting, comma, the select board. Do we want to put a comma after board and before or its designate to be consistent with what we did in the third
Yep.
line?
And
And-
capitalize M for meeting.
Yeah,
So read the whole thing, how we want to, unless otherwise provided by a vote of town, at town meeting? At town meeting.
Of town meeting.
Of town meeting?
yeah.
The select board or its designee pursuant to GL is not authorized, right? What did you say?
Is-
No,
Is authorized to enter?
the sentence that Francine wanted to add
Right.
is at the end of the paragraph.
Oh, okay. Can you read that whole thing then?
So unless otherwise provided by a vote of town meeting, the select board or its designee
Yeah,
pursuant to whatever
Yeah.
is authorized to enter into any contract for the exercise of the town's corporate powers on such terms and conditions as are deemed appropriate.
okay.
The select board or its designee shall contract for any purpose, terms, or conditions. I'm sorry, shall not contract for any
Shall not.
purpose, terms,
That's what I thought.
or conditions inconsistent with any applicable provisions of any general law. No select board member may enter into any contract on behalf of the town without authorization from the select board or town meeting.
Okay, so that's the line that we need to,
Right.
Yeah. And then I've got a question where it says, with any applicable provisions of any general law, the next to last sentence, any general law, you see that phrase? Is general law, is that different from general bylaws or general? Is there such
is
a
that
thing as a
general
general
law
law?
and general, mass general law?
Where are we? For the last sentence?
Yeah.
With any applicable provisions of any general law.
Yeah,
It
it's-
would be any mass general,
Yeah, so
any law
Of the Commonwealth?
So
or-
it's not the
The Commonwealth.
town's general laws, it's the Commonwealth. Is that what
Okay,
you're saying?
but it also has to be consistent with the bylaws.
right.
So you could say both.
I would think, yeah.
Right. If that's what's intended, you could say with any applicable provisions of any,
Massachusetts
General
general
law
law
of-
and town bylaws, if you want to specify.
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Do we want to say general or just of any,
I would say mass general laws and town bylaws.
yeah, but it could be any law, right? Possibly, although
Well,
I think,
I'm not sure that the state has, do they have much that really applies to the town's ability to contract?
That I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know how, with the
Right.
jurisdiction of
Right.
state contracting and their
Yeah.
rules over
Right. Yeah.
towns and how they,
Yeah, well, why not just say of any, until someone wants to change it, why not
Just
just
any
say of any
general laws.
Massachusetts, well, why not say of any Massachusetts law
Okay.
or town bylaw?
Okay, yeah.
And bylaws usually, for the town, these bylaws, it's a hyphenated word?
Yes,
Okay, and is law capitalized or not?
no.
Okay. So of any Massachusetts law or town bylaw?
Well, mass law is called mass general laws, so that's probably where general came from. So I think general should still be in there, because it's
Okay.
MGL.
Okay, so of any Massachusetts general law or town bylaw?
Or town bylaw.
So should we add the M to the top?
yes.
To MGL? Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, So, in the fourth paragraph, I would take out the 2 commas, if that seems to read clearly enough still.
The one after town.
After both towns.
After town meetings and after elections. The fourth paragraph.
Oh.
2-line thing.
Can we consolidate these next ones by listing the positions that
Yeah, you
The-
talked about that.
the select
Right,
board can appoint?
Yeah,
In here, they're all separate, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I just followed suit.
Yeah, except,
There's different things
Different
in
terms
for
each
each
one,
one?
because I did look at that.
Okay.
Well, could we combine the police and the fire and just say, the select board shall appoint a chief of police and such other police officers, comma, a fire chief and such other fire department personnel as may be necessary and make suitable regulations governing the police and fire department. Could we combine those two or
I
no?
personally like them separate.
Separate?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
That's
not
fine.
married to, I'm just.
No, that's fine.
As, we're listing each one, town administrator and highway
What-
superintendent.
another possibility is to kind of cut the baby in half. I mean, we could just say this, have it all in one section, but have it by, so start with, the select board shall appoint, colon, and then a town administrator for whatever.
Right.
And, B, a chief of police,
Yeah.
Dot, dot,
That would be
yeah.
the other way, yeah.
Yep.
Instead of each, that would, so we'd have the same language.
Right.
The specificity to each of those appointments. We would have them all listed together.
Okay, I can change
Okay.
that.
Now, in terms of other appointments, the town administrator is 3 years because it's elected. The others are all appointed positions. So there's no term on there. Okay.
Yeah, and for the one on the committees and boards, I would maybe at the end say, at the word which are not elected by, or members of those committees, qualifying, or any, some of those are elected, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what, of of any committees, boards, and I would do commas, of any committees, board, comma, boards, so forth, commissions, councils, and groups, or groups,
Not-
which are not elected by vote in town elections.
Okay. That's fine.
So commissions, councils, and then before groups, add the word or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you like that?
Which are not, and you won't need a comment there.
Now, the select board has responsibility for issuing other than liquor licenses. Weren't there? Weren't there other licenses given out?
Well, there'll be marijuana licenses
Or
soon, but-
permits and, well, no, they're one-day permits for liquor license.
Yeah, that's
Everything is a
it, yeah.
liquor, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Do we need to
They
do-
do.
What do they do?
They do others, like, for garages, like car garage, the businesses, like
Oh, repair shops? Auto repair.
Okay.
and stuff like that.
So business licenses, is that what you would
No,
call?
No.
yes, you do the licenses, but we do, the town clerk does the
DBAs.
permits.
You better add marijuana in here.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah. Yeah.
Not that we're going to
So-
be issuing any licenses anytime soon, but it is
Oh,
the
no, so knocking on the
possibility.
door. Just kidding.
It's been suggested.
You're doing
So-
liquor and marijuana licenses. Now, is the town agreed to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So someone would argue, okay, so no one would argue
Yeah,
that we
no
don't
one,
have
no
the
one has
authority.
applied yet, but the
Okay.
town has created the conditions under which
Okay,
those
Yeah, they
businesses.
don't even
can't
have,
go
they don't
down.
even have an application
Right.
process yet. They have,
Right.
okay.
still do the application, so, yeah.
And in the last paragraph, so I would take, and I think it's excellent, just some things for better understanding grammatically. Authorize the sale and otherwise dispose of any equipment or material which, I would do which is held, because it'll make it easier for it's coming up, held by any department, take out the comma, which is
Yep.
held by any department and is deemed.
Right.
Take out
Take
that,
out that, yeah,
unless you want to put which in, but I don't think it's necessary.
deemed.
And is deemed.
yeah,
Take out the comma.
yeah,
By said department to be obsolete and/or of no further use by the town. And then, in the next paragraph, after sufficient value to sell, take out the comma.
yep.
And then, let me see if I understand the last one.
Yeah.
For the next one, at least 2 weeks next.
No.
We're missing a word, I think.
Or take out
Or take
including.
out, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
At least 2 weeks in advance of any competitive bid or auction notice, a descriptive listing of
Yeah,
articles
take out
available.
including.
shall
And
be
the time and
posted.
place of such a sale shall be posted.
Is that what is meant, Ginny? What is to be posted? The listing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you were suggesting
Eliminating the word including.
including
Including, right.
the descriptive list and and take out the comma after sale.
Yes.
Shall be posted.
And then do a new sentence. Postings must appear in 6 public places. Does that make sense?
Where does that 6 come from?
We vote, I don't know, it can't, we voted, it used to be 5, and then we increased it to 6, right? That's all I,
Yeah.
Must have been some
Yeah.
additional,
just to make sure that people,
So you're proposing available on the time and place of such sale. And then where were we going to put a period?
No, we'll take the comma after
Take
sale.
the comma.
Yeah.
Shall be posted.
Yeah.
period.
No, or don't you say, shall be posted in 6 public
Okay.
places? The rest of the sentence would remain. Right.
Oh, okay.
In 6 public places.
So, interpretation question. So on the places, one of those 6 public places is the town website? But some people would say, well, what's the difference between the town website and a daily newspaper? Is the newspaper to be considered one of the 6 public places? I don't think it was intended to be.
From this, it doesn't sound like it is.
In other words, we're taking, you're saying 6 public places, which seems to mean, physically, but then we're saying 1 is media, the town website, but then at least once in media, which is not considered to be a newspaper, which is not considered to be one of the 6 public places. You see, it's just a little confusing. It's that.
So why don't we list the public places then?
Or what about, you could say 5 public places.
Or define, okay.
Well, how about, here's one possibility, 5 public places, and in addition, the town website, and a daily newspaper of general circulation.
A daily, yeah, instead of at
And I don't think you need to have at least once.
I agree,
Okay.
yep.
Now, do we have to change that since we voted on 6?
Who voted?
I remember, it came up at a select board meeting.
Yeah.
It's in the bylaws, yeah. See, the 6 public places is consistent with the posting of warrants.
Which is the
warrants.
5 or the 6?
6.
The 6. It's consistent because they post our,
The constable.
The constable posts all the warrants at the Big Y, the library, the Trading Post corner, the town bulletin board.
The library.
I think I said the library.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. So it's 5, so it's
Yeah.
those 5 places plus the town website? Or is there
Yes.
6 places besides the town website?
It's the same, 6 places, including the town
website.
website.
Or
Oh, no,
5
no,
places
but
plus-
you were saying the places that you were just listing, there's 5 of those, the physical, okay. Well,
I
then
believe
another
so.
way to do
I
it
believe so,
is,
yeah.
if
Yeah.
that's the case, why not leave, 6 public places to be consistent with what we do for warrants, including the town website. And shall in addition,
And
Right.
yeah, comma, and shall, comma, in addition, or and in addition, however you want
post in, at least post in daily
to,
newspaper.
yeah,
The town website.
posted, yeah, in addition, well, actually, let's see, shall be posted in 5 places, including the, and in addition, yeah, and, comma,
In addition.
yeah, in addition, comma, be posted, or published, why do we say published?
Yes.
Be published at least once in a daily newspaper of general circulation.
Great.
So you're not using the tree down on the corner of Russellville anymore?
What tree is that, Virginia?
Oh, that's funny.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Or Sheldon's
When
when
I
it opens
came,
up.
when I came here, there was a tree down on the corner of Russellville and Montgomery Road. And that's where one of them was posted.
Well,
Okay.
Virginia, this looks good. I think this is-
Yeah.
And then are we going to
Did you
also,
like the way it flowed? Because that's what I was more concerned about.
Is there anything in the original that does not appear in here?
I don't believe so.
Because I haven't read it for that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you said you added some stuff
Oh,
from the
yeah.
town website.
Yes. Oh,
See,
absolutely.
here, yes.
But is there anything missing
Here,
from?
one of the notes I had
don't believe
is that because this has come up, proceeds from the sale of such items will be deposited into the general fund.
Where is that?
I wrote that. It's not anywhere.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you want to add that?
I would like to add that the
Okay.
proceeds from any of these,
Of which sells? or-
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
for the disposal of any town
I think
equipment
that's
or material.
Phenomenal idea.
Because the last 2,000 did not go into the general fund,
Oh,
so
Okay,
So-
could you repeat that, please?
I said the proceeds.
how about any proceeds?
Yeah,
Or the-
I mean, proceeds from the sale of
Okay.
such items will be deposited into the general fund.
From
Or you can say it some other way. All I care about is that the money ends up in the
proceeds
general
from
fund.
sale of,
Well, it goes into the fund, the general fund. That's where it came out of, probably.
So, from any said sale? Or from-
Yes,
proceeds from.
however it has to be said.
Any sale of items. Should be or must be?
Shall.
Shall be, okay. Be deposited into the general.
Is it the general fund? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, capital
the-
G, capital F.
Yeah.
Do you want the town's general fund?
Yes, town's general fund.
Excellent.
Town's general fund.
That's interesting.
Well, there was some old fire truck, something that belonged to the fire department that they said was of no value. So somebody then bid on it, and they got either $1,500 or $2,000 for it, and it went into something else. It did not come back to the general fund.
That was,
Because the town said, because select board said, oh, it's no value, whatever you get for it, you know, thinking it was 50
That's
cents.
interesting.
that's the one that was up by the building in Pequot area.
Yeah,
Take that amount off their.
Pardon?
Take that amount off their funding request.
no, I'm saying, you know,
joking.
that needs to,
Right,
you know,
absolutely.
It needs to come in.
I agree. I
okay.
agree with that.
So
Most definitely.
those are, you know, there are some things that just stick in my mind.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
here to
Yeah.
bring them up. 'cause
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
You had to cut that out of brush,
Okay,
literally.
so we are now at 2:30.
Yep.
Do you want to think about if we finish up on this, that we call it a day on this one?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, we got a lot done.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
My only concern is that we produce a version of this that has these integrated.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
being eliminated from what currently exists and
Yeah.
what we're adding
Yeah.
in the same way.
Yeah, I think you did well
Yeah.
with integrating them.
This way
Yeah.
looks good, yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I don't understand, and to refresh my memory, what does she mean in going back to the change
Yeah.
document? Current practice?
Where is,
Yeah, the select board shall appoint a highway superintendent and
select
such highway
board.
or other highway and personnel as may necessary and make suitable regulations governing the highway department current meaning that's what we do now?
Yeah, I
That's what she
understand what
must have-
current
yeah, but why-
practice is, I just don't
Yeah,
know
but
why it was here and
Yeah,
what
why
it
did she put it
meant.
in there?
We're talking about the reference in the original
Like
version
right there. See how she wrote?
and how this
Current
language
practice,
here,
okay.
just to kind of
Think.
specify that this is current practice.
Yeah.
And what it really, why it was even there.
Right, and it's only under fire chief, highway, and town
Oh,
accountant.
it actually said current practice in it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it didn't, I think.
I think it must have been maybe the way, my guess is just that it appeared in an explanatory note in the warrant, and someone just reprinted the whole thing.
Or is this
In other
just
words,
for her?
they were
This is what we were adding. This hasn't been approved by anybody yet.
I think
you
what
mean
she
the
was
code?
saying was,
Oh,
this.
so that came from this
This is
committee.
what we
Yes.
currently
I
practice,
think
and
that's
we would
what-
like to add it in.
Right.
Okay, all right.
That's-
Because she wrote up here, language and clarity, so is she telling you guys, that, like
Okay.
us, that we need to look at the
Okay.
language and the clarity,
Yes,
so, okay.
okay. So what we talked about when you stepped up was this being our last section for today, coming back, and looking at our list of items and putting them on the agenda for next week.
Yeah.
Well, which ones, yeah, if we decide on it for next week, then if we can maybe look up
Right.
these and then just
Yeah.
kind of each person mark it up
Make some
maybe, or
notes,
put up, yeah.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Well, we can each mark up, any, or write down, suggestions we have, and that we,
And suggestions.
oh, if we know it's like Article 4, 5, and 6 that we're doing next
Right.
week, in the meantime,
So
we
we
can
know ahead
maybe
of time.
each review it quickly and at least understand how it's written, and then
Yeah.
offer ideas.
Yep.
Okay, let me see.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I mean, according to this, it would be town clerk,
Treasurer,
treasurer,
and general.
and government, general government.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of getting us to the way we said we needed to do it anyway. We needed to go back
Yeah.
over everything.
Is general government a bigger section?
It's like a
Because I was going to say.
page and a half.
Oh, okay, that's.
And right now, the town,
Yeah.
the treasurer collector doesn't have anything.
No, no.
Well, I will send that to you.
Okay.
I didn't get to combine,
Oh,
to
yes,
integrate the treasurer.
That'd be good. So do we just want to limit it to 4, 5, and 6, or should we say a little more than that, just in case we do go that far?
Oh.
I don't know
I'm,
that we will.
I'm okay. Move is, if we
You
keep
do
going
4,
good
5,
pace.
6, and 7?
7 is licenses.
Yeah.
That's page and a half. That's fine with me. 5, 6,
Okay.
and 7.
Wow, that sounds ambitious.
Well, we got noise, select board, and
Finance and
and
Board of Health?
finance. Yeah, we knocked off some good ones
Yeah.
today.
So I do note that in Article 7, on the licenses and permits, that there is a paragraph, the second paragraph there, that relates to the tax collector.
Yeah.
Oh, and tax collectors also, well, tax collectors mentioned in at least a couple of paragraphs, it looks like. So maybe that's the proper place for it, but
It
And
may
so-
be, but we can,
This is current, what's here. And it's very interesting that all this reference to the tax collector, and there's nothing
Under the
in under the
Right.
tax collector that's
Yeah.
referencing some of these
Yeah.
things, so I guess
Yeah.
that's where we would get some of it.
Now, this seems, I take it that this comes mainly from the state law, maybe, from the general laws?
This makes,
It's a highly technical provision, I think, and it's boilerplate language, it looks to me, that's put in here for, someone thought that better be in our bylaws, I think.
and it
But-
is in the bylaws.
I would find out more about the background of that before we start disemboweling it, and redoing it. I don't know, it may be something that it was felt that was taken from somewhere else.
Well,
from the
it's very-
Commonwealth,
yeah.
and that we needed
it's
to
very
have it as
interesting that
is.
it's in italics.
Yeah.
And if
Yes,
you go to
right.
the end of this document, it's in regular type, and whatever was there
Yeah. You're right.
must have been
Yeah.
what was the original.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah,
If I could add to that, there, I had this little thing written, amended to add certain sections, and then the AG's office approved it in
Yep.
2016.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's probably when we started working on this, and then
Oh,
Velda was working off an older bylaw
Okay.
copy,
Okay.
and then had to redo this.
so the AG approved the stuff after the italics, or the,
looks like
In
it was amended
2006.
to add
I would-
section 1, right?
We would have to go into the bylaws.
Okay.
And look and make a
Oh,
comparison.
it does say the
Okay.
first sentence, accepted the provisions of the following.
right.
So so all these, certainly in italics, I think probably comes from it. So it's required, I guess, to be in our bylaws perhaps, or someone in the
Well-
town thought that it was, we protect ourselves by having it in the bylaws as well.
Yeah, I think what happened, and because I came on this committee at the very beginning,
Yeah.
there was concern by our then town administrator because these were not consistent. Each bylaw had been written by somebody and accepted, they weren't consistent, there was no grouping together.
I'm
There were
really glad
things missing, or should have been in there that never was. You know, if you came up, if you made a suggestion, we need a bylaw on this, well, go write it. And so it would look like one thing. Ours was bad, but it's not as bad as some towns.
Yeah.
But it was all, they were all over the place. Some people thought they had to write it with lofty legalese, and others tried to make it too simple, and
No, I'm really glad that we're working on all of these. and-
Well, and I'm kind of surprised that it's written, that in the current bylaws, it's written, because I assume this is the case, it's actually written in italics, which is different from anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because they're quoting.
It may be.
yeah.
It may be.
I think I remember the background to this. People were, they were applying for like building permits, and they were not paying the taxes that they.
There was a big discussion.
There was a big thing about that, and without really reading it right now, I think that's what it stemmed from.
Yeah, I think this is one that we should really work on.
But there was something, just,
So we're going to look.
there was a reason.
Okay, so we should be prepared if we get to them to look at Articles 4 through 7?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and Virginia after that, it's dog counts.
Well, it's not yet. We're going to wait till the very end,
That's right.
because we're going to find, as we go through the others, that there are references to animals
Yeah.
and things like that. And of course, the select board has been dealing with dogs lately.
Two, I guess.
Yeah, but you've had other cases
Yeah.
that come up.
Yes.
And so we were going to wait and also there's no mention of animals in general. Farm animals,
Cats.
cats. One town has something to do with wild cats. Well, I looked, Westfield, I think, looked at it and we couldn't tell whether they were like bobcats that were wild or if you owned a killer cat that was attacking people. And there's nothing on a bylaw about treatment of wild animals, and we need that because we have people feeding them.
Yeah.
And then they become problems if the people move away.
Does the Board of Health have any jurisdiction over that?
I know in our department head meeting, Geraldine was saying that they were going to start looking at an animal bylaw.
You mean for
For Board
feeding
of Health, yeah,
things?
that kind of thing, yeah.
A lot of it's
Yep.
health, too.
Yeah,
Well, it is in terms of spreading
yeah,
potentially.
right.
They had that, there was no bylaw on chickens, and they had that one mess that went to court.
That was on
Gun Road.
Gun Road, yeah.
And the judge said right out, this only affects this case. Does not affect any other case. So
Because there's nothing in the,
there's nothing in the bylaw about, oh, these were pet chickens that, and she admitted she hadn't been taking care of the property, that, you know, it wasn't like she said, I'll clean it up. And nope, the neighbor wanted it gone.
The town spent a lot of money on a neighborhood dispute.
Yeah.
That was really unfortunate.
yeah.
Okay, the next meeting is next Thursday, April 4th at 1:30. Is that what we have decided?
Yeah.
I believe so.
And I will probably need to leave that one 3:15 at the latest.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta go back downstairs.
1:30.
All right.
We'll see
So
you
that's all we're gonna
Yes,
Anything?
okay.
now.
Stop
Okay.
it.
All right, so
If
do
you
I have a
want to.
motion to adjourn?
Yes, I motion.
I second it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 2:42.
Thank you.
you.